Enveloped in the continent of Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo's sheer natural beauty and resources lay in contrast to its tumultuous narrative. A land teeming with verdant rainforests that spread across the horizon and an emerald green canopy stretching for miles, housing diverse and unique flora and fauna. These rainforests are natural wonders of the untamed majesty of the earth. However, the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, is a land where beauty meets tragedy. A nation tormented by a legacy of political instability, a government that has long been marred by corruption and internal strife. The economic struggles are palpable, with a majority of its population living in poverty, lives overshadowed by the daunting spectre of hunger and unemployment. Juxtaposed with its natural wealth is a story of human rights issues and the relentless struggle and conflict of its people. Men, women, and children are subjected to abhorrent violence, forced labor, and other human rights abuses. Today, we delve deeper into conflicts in the Democratic Republic of Congo. As the sun rises over the DRC, so does a wave of violence that shatters lives and displaced millions. There has been a significant increase in violence in DRC, particularly in its eastern provinces. This involves clashes between militant groups, extrajudicial killings by security forces, and political violence. The conflict has resulted in high rates of civilian casualties and displacement, with a record high of 6.9 million internally displaced people. What ignites this relentless turmoil? To understand today's crisis, we must journey back in time. The shadows of history loom large over the Congo's present struggles. The roots of the conflict trace back to the aftermath of the 1994 Rwandan genocide and subsequent wars in the late 1990s. Ethnic tensions, territorial disputes, and foreign intervention have fueled prolonged instability. The Rwandan genocide was a catastrophic event in recent history that took place over 100 days from April to July 1994. During this period, an estimated 800,000 people were brutally killed. The majority of victims belonged to the Tutsi ethnic group, targeted by extremist members of the Hutu majority government. The genocide was rooted in long-standing ethnic tensions exacerbated by colonial rule. The trigger event was the assassination of Rwandan President Juvenal Habyarimana, a Hutu whose plane was shot down on April 6, 1994. This led to a systematic campaign of violence orchestrated by the government, encouraging Hutu civilians to participate in the killing of Tutsis and moderate Hutus. The international community's response was criticized for its inadequacy, with a lack of intervention allowing the genocide to continue largely unabated. The genocide ended when the Rwandan Patriotic Front, a Tutsi rebel group, took control of the country. This event dramatically altered Rwanda's demographics and political landscape and had profound impacts on the region, leading to further conflicts and political instability in the years that followed. The Rwandan genocide had significant and long-lasting impacts on the DRC. Following the genocide, more than 2 million Rwandans, including many Hutu extremists responsible for the genocide, fled into eastern DRC. This influx of refugees exacerbated existing tensions and contributed to the outbreak of the First and Second Congo Wars. These wars involved multiple African nations and led to widespread violence, atrocities, and the deaths of millions of people, making them some of the deadliest conflicts since World War II. The presence of Rwandan Hutu militants in the DRC also led to military interventions by Rwanda, further destabilizing the region. The legacy of the Rwandan genocide thus played a crucial role in shaping the subsequent history of conflict and instability in the DRC. In the heart of the current conflict stand rebel groups. Over recent decades, numerous rebel groups have emerged within DRC's borders. Many of these groups have taken advantage of political vacuums caused by weak central governance or regional conflicts. They often resort to violence to control territory, impose their ideologies upon civilians, or engage in illegal activities such as smuggling and poaching. These armed groups frequently terrorize local communities through tactics such as forced evictions, arbitrary arrests, torture, forced labor, and recruitment into their ranks. In turn, this rampant violence has created a massive humanitarian crisis, with millions displaced from their homes or requiring urgent humanitarian assistance. Rwanda has been involved in the DRC's affairs, primarily due to security concerns related to the presence of Rwandan Hutu militants in the eastern DRC. This involvement has included military interventions and support for certain rebel groups in the region. Rwanda has been accused of supporting various rebel groups in the DRC, most notably the March 23 movement, M23. M23 is a Tutsi-led rebel group that emerged in 2012, primarily operating in the North Kivu province of the DRC. The group's name refers to the March 23, 2009 peace agreement that they accused the Congolese government of violating. Rwanda's alleged support for M23 has been a point of contention and has strained its relations with the DRC. However, the extent and nature of this support have been subjects of debate and contention in international relations. In 2022 and 2023, tensions escalated between DRC and Rwanda, partly due to the resurgence of M23. This has led to increased military presence and the potential for broader regional conflict. Caught in the crossfire are innocent villagers who face forced evictions by various factions vying for power. These displacements reflect intentional strategies to cement territorial control or punish suspected enemy supporters. Within camps sheltering internally displaced persons, scarce resources provide incentives for armed groups to exploit displaced populations for recruitment or to serve their vested interests. Congo's soil is rich with minerals that power our modern world, yet this wealth has become a curse fueling greed and conflict. These upheavals create fertile ground for human rights abuses, with frequent reports of mass sexual abuse, extrajudicial killings, and child soldiering within the DRC. Moreover, limited access to education, healthcare, and legal recourse due to the ongoing conflict has made it difficult for victims of these human rights violations to seek justice. Foreign corporations and governments have played their part in exacerbating the volatile landscape dominating DRC. The country's vast mineral wealth entails coveted resources such as coltan, uranium, and cobalt, central components for electronics and military technologies. Consequently, unscrupulous actors have been drawn to financially supporting armed groups to gain control of resource-rich territories. By providing financial assistance or arms dealerships, external parties are feeding a vicious cycle of war profiteering, environmental degradation, and regional instability. Amnesty International has reported that companies operating in the DRC have been involved in forced evictions, often with the assistance of local security forces. In the southern province of Lualaba, for example, residents near the Mutoshi project run by Chemicals of Africa SA described how soldiers burned down settlements and forcibly evicted inhabitants, often with violence and without adequate resettlement plans. Near Kolwezi, a subsidiary of Eurasian Resources Group, has been implicated in land grabs and human rights abuses, including an incident where soldiers, reportedly acting on behalf of the company, occupied land and bulldozed crops, leading to widespread suffering among the local population. ERG, however, claimed they had no control over the deployment of these soldiers. A report by a UN panel of experts has emphasized the role of both state and non-state actors in the continued exploitation of the DRC's resources, highlighting the self-financing and self-sustaining nature of the conflict in the region. The report underlines that the Congolese people have not been the beneficiaries of this exploitation, which has led to systematic violations of their fundamental rights. The panel pointed out that while some countries, including Zimbabwe, Angola, and Namibia, have allied with the DRC government in these activities, other countries like Uganda and Rwanda have also engaged in exploiting resources through sophisticated commercial networks and military operations. The tale of the Democratic Republic of Congo is one of complexity, heartache, and undying hope. To help address the humanitarian crisis in the Democratic Republic of Congo, please raise awareness of what is happening. Support organizations working to provide aid, medical assistance, and human rights advocacy. Advocate for and practice responsible consumption of products containing minerals like cobalt and coltan, often sourced from the DRC. Encourage your government representatives to support policies and international aid that address the DRC crisis. Join us in shedding light on these hidden struggles by engaging with this story. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video to spread the word.